Hey guys, Joe Small Home Off Grid Prepping. Welcome to our channel. So I know I haven't seen you guys in a while. Most of December we didn't do videos. My wife did some. If you follow her channel, I think she did probably about 3 or 4. But we've been making different plans. You guys know over the past several months there's been we're in the e-commerce business, and we got very, very tied up with that. And over the past several months, we weren't able to make videos, YouTube videos here as often as we wanted to. So I've actually changed that. We planned a 2024 season here. We'll be putting videos out at least once a week here. So I hope you guys, if you don't already follow us, subscribe and follow. Because like I said, we have a lot of big plans. We basically made changes to our e-commerce business. I mean, I would put in anywhere from 12 to 16 hours a day for the last year and a half and then try to make these videos. So I made some changes to that where I'm not having to put in so much time. We have 13 stores now. We have 6 Facebook accounts, 2 YouTube channels, and we actually are opening up a 3rd YouTube channel, which I'm not going to get into today, but we are starting a 3rd one. So, but like I said, I've basically spent the last month, actually close to 2 months, trying to make changes to where we could actually spend time making more videos and be away from the e-commerce business a little bit. They're still up and running. Like I said, they're getting better and better every day. They just take up too much of my time, so I've been trying to figure out ways to stop that. So we planned a 2024 season here for our YouTube videos, and this is going to basically be the first one of the 2024 season, which is actually unplanned. We're talking about GFCIs today, or GFIs, same exact thing pretty much, ground fault circuit interrupters. And I'm going to explain exactly what they do. But in my case, you're looking at an old one here that I had to replace about 6 months ago, and I'll show you why. This one's just been sitting around, but you see back over here where this one burned up on the load side over here. Basically this one went bad. It kept tripping on me, and the thing was I'd reset it and it would trip, or I'd reset it, it wouldn't trip, and then finally it just kept tripping enough that I'm like, alright, I got to take the time to figure out what's going on with this thing here. And that's what I found. So like I said, I replaced that about 6 months ago, but all of a sudden the new one I replaced started tripping, and I started having issues with it. So this is going to be a diagnostics video. I've already diagnosed the problem, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I found with it. But let me explain exactly what a ground fault circuit interrupter does to you for you guys here real quick here, for anybody who doesn't know. A ground fault circuit interrupter is a fast-acting circuit protector. Okay, it's designed to shut off electrical power in the event of a ground fault, and it will do that in as little as 1/40th of a second. Okay, the way they basically work is they monitor current. Okay, it's going to monitor the amount of current from the hot to the neutral going to the equipment, and if that current becomes imbalanced, then it's going to trip the circuit. Okay, if there's a difference between the 2 legs, then it trips the circuit out there. They're usually installed where electric circuits may accidentally come in contact with water. Most often kitchens, bathrooms, outdoor circuits, which is exactly what this one was here. This was an outdoor circuit. And like I said, I'll get into in a second exactly what I found with these things here and what I diagnosed and everything like that. The thing is, though, is ground faults, they weren't always around, okay? And every year, without a ground fault, just on regular electric, every year hundreds of people die from electrocutions, okay? And they come from different areas. Believe it or not, the least amount is electricians working with them, because we know how to work with this stuff here. It's usually stuff like somebody grabs a frayed cord, or somebody over the years, an electrician, has done something incorrect, which is why you guys see on my channel here, I am very, very, very much, and you'll see I don't post them. You know, comments come through when I get comments from electricians who try to say that, oh, you don't need to go through all that, don't need to do all that. Oh, yeah, you do, guys. Okay, electric is all about safety, and the biggest problem you see out there is electricians that are doing things unsafe, okay? And they're not electricians, most of them. I've seen a lot of companies that just basically hire anybody off the street, no matter what they've done. They stick them with an electrician for about 3, 4, 5 months, and now they're in a truck out there, you know, doing people's work. And I'll give you one example that I saw from a company I worked for, not the last one I worked for, actually not even the one before that. This is going back a few years. But I was working for a company that was like that, okay? This guy supposedly claimed to be an electrician. He had less than a year's experience out there, and he went out one day, I was with him, and he went out one day to diagnose a problem where the customer's lights weren't coming on. It was a neutral problem. He couldn't figure it out, so he just connected the light to the ground, and it came on, okay? So that is the kind of things that you see out there that people do dangerously, and like I said, literally every year hundreds of people die from electrocution. Now the GFI, prior to the invention of the GFI, you had an average of about 800 people per year that died. And it was mostly situations like you get out of a shower and you're standing in a puddle of water, and you know, you go to plug a hairdryer in or something like that, and they became electrocuted. Whereas now the GFI will sense that as a ground fault, and there's going to be an imbalance of voltage, current, and it's going to trip that circuit extremely quick before anybody, you know, gets hurt, anybody dies, anything like that. Same thing with outside, where this is where my diagnostics is. My outside lights went off and they kept tripping here. So yeah, they're for wet lake locations and stuff like that. After the invention of GFIs, people still die from water, you know, water electrocutions and stuff like that, but it's down to an average of about only 200 people per year annually in the United States that actually die from you know, water electrocutions here. And usually they're in an area that's something where GFIs should have been installed, but it wasn't. In GFIs, like here, you see that we have a GFI breaker. I'm sorry, GFI receptacle. They can be breakers or receptacles. I don't think I have any GFI receptacle breakers, but let's jump over to my panel real quick, because I have arc faults and they look identical, but they're not the same. But let's jump over and I'll give you an example what a GFI breaker would look like. Okay, you guys have seen this before. This is my generator transfer panel or solar transfer panel. It actually works for both. You can watch the previous videos. I'll include some in the end screen if you haven't seen when this was installed and what this does. But as you see here, this has a little button on it right over here. Okay, that is the same thing as a GFI. This is an arc fault over here. It's not a GFI. They are completely different things. This one senses arcing, microscopic arcing, where a GFI is going to sense ground fault. So they're completely different, but they look identical. With one exception, this button here as a GFI would most likely be a green. Some of them are white, but you still can't tell just by looking at the button there. But that's what a GFI breaker would look like. Again, being that this is an arc fault, you can see right over there it says arc fault. The other one would say GFI. So it's identical to this. They are just two different breakers here. So that's what a GFI breaker would look like compared to a receptacle. But let me get into my diagnostics, guys, and tell you exactly what I found. Okay, so this is the actual culprit right over here. This is a bubble cover. And you see when I lift this up here, this has been fixed. I have this turned off now, but you can still see the red light is on over there. I am going to put a switch in over here. I did have a photocell, and I'll go back to the other GFI. You might have seen the wire hanging off of that. That was a photocell off of there, and the photocell actually burned up, and that's what caused the GFI to go bad. But this one over here, this GFI, I just turned this off until I put the switch in. I just plug it in like that, and so yeah, when it's dark tonight, I'll come out and I'll just pop that in so it turns all my lights off. So like I said, this was the problem. Okay, now keep in mind, GFIs are in wet locations. So this is outside, this is a wet location. We have to have the bubble cover over this over here. And I'll jump back inside in a second and I'll show you guys exactly how a GFI works if you want to add multiple receptacles to it. You don't have to have, let's say that you have a circuit that has, I don't know, 10 receptacles on it that all need to be GFI protected. They're on the outside of your house. They go around to lights outside your house, and all 10 of them would need to be protected. You don't have to install 10 GFIs, okay? GFIs do matter whether you're wiring on a line or load, but what would happen is line is power coming in, okay? So you're going to have the circuit, the initial power coming in, and then load coming out, you're going to have it coming out of the load side of the GFI, and then it will go to a receptacle, and the receptacle would be wired in series. Okay, in my next video, I'm going to explain the difference between wiring receptacles in series and making pigtails, okay, which is how I did my house. If you wire a receptacle in series and one receptacle goes bad, you're going to lose the entire circuit. If you got 10 of them on there, all 10 are going to stop working, whereas if you use pigtails like I did when I built my house here, if that one receptacle goes bad, then that's the only receptacle. Everything else starts working. With a GFI, to protect the entire circuit, then you would have to actually wire it completely in series, going from the GFI load side into the receptacle, then out of the receptacle, going to the next receptacle, and then so on and so on. So like I said, this one was working fine, started tripping on me, so now I got to diagnose, and I'm going to give you guys a quick tip here. If you're an apprentice, you're an electrician working in the field, when something like this happens, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to check the GFI, right? That makes common sense, which means you're going to start taking things apart. And in a lot of cases, if you're working on bathrooms, kitchens, that's going to make the most sense, okay? But when you're working on an outside, especially where I know I just put a brand new GFI in here less than 6 months ago, it's not going to be the first thing I check, okay? So the first thing I checked was I started going around checking if I had any water intrusion anywhere. that is either getting into this box over here, and it wasn't. This was fine. Everything's sealed nice and tight up at the top over here. These are also, no water was getting in here. Bubble cover is fine. I know all my wiring underground is fine. There's no splits in the wire, and even wiring on the GFI circuit, if it's sitting in water but you're using THHN or THWN, the correct wiring, that is made to be wet. Okay, so it's pretty unlikely that even if a piece of wire is sitting, water got into the pipe, that's going to be your problem. Okay, quite unlikely whatsoever. Unless there's a split in the wire, then you got a bigger problem than just, you know, that happening. Now you got an issue with the wire itself. So that wasn't it. So let's go jump over and let's show you guys exactly what I found, because there's not a lot on this here. This basically, let me show you what is actually on this thing. There's a post light on here. As I was walking up, you guys saw our statue over here with an arch around it. We have some Christmas lights around there. And that was actually the first thing I checked, is Christmas lights could cause this to happen, the kind of chintzy. So first thing I did was I unplugged that, and it still tripped. There was no problem there. Then there's a post about 8 feet tall that I put in. I cut down a pine tree from here, cut the branches off, and put a post light on the top of it, but then I have 4 spotlights that shoot around the side of the property as well. And that's where I found the issue, but let me just kind of show you guys here real quick what I found. Okay, so this is the post over here that I put in. It's just a pine tree that I cut the tree and put it in. This is going around my pool over here, and I have the 2 spotlights aimed this way here. You can see the post light on the top here, and then I have the 2 spotlights over here. And you see I have this one up here taken out. The bulb is taken out, and this is where I found the problem. This is why this is tripping, and let me go show you exactly what I found with that, what caused it. The problem, well, yeah, the problem is here, but I'm jumping ahead. I'll get to that in a second, but let me show you what I found. Okay, so this is the bulb that you guys just saw missing from there, and let's see if you can see all the water in the bulb. Look at this thing. This bulb filled up with water, okay? So your first assumption is going to be, oh, wow, the bulb is bad. Well, that's not the case. The bulb was not bad, okay? And that's why you need to make sure, if you're an apprentice working in the field, you need to be thorough. Don't look at something that appears to be obvious. It's obvious this is tripping because of the water in there, right? Well, but why did water get in there? There's seals around there. If you guys look back at the picture, let me show you again real quick here. Alright, so I decided to come to a different light. I have that one's up too high. We're walking down my driveway here. You see my columns out in front of the house over here. You see the 2 lights on the top. Those are also GFI protected. These are all GFI protected, and my well over there. But this is where I was actually coming to, because it's easier for me to walk right over here and show you. And this is another GFI that I have in here. Over here, that's a GFI, but you see the button popped up. The button still works if I push that, but the little plastic piece popped off. I have it. I just got to put it back in. I haven't gotten around to that. But this GFI works completely perfect. There's no problem with it there. I just have a little plastic tab to put back in. But this here, you see I put my red lights in for Christmas. These are up lights. They shine up on the trees. All the pine trees up over there. It looks really, really cool at night. But you can see my security cameras over here. One watching my well, the other watching the front there. But all these pine trees you see up here, these red lights, it looks really cool at night. We put them in for Christmas to basically shine up over here. But as you see here, what was I getting to? This is the rubber seal, okay? And as I unscrew this bulb over here, you see the seals around the side of the bulb, okay? So now my question had to be, and you can see this seal is perfectly good, and this is old. This has been in here for at least 4 or 5 years, this one here. That other one I put in about 6 months ago, okay? But that is the case. You see in the one where the bulb was missing, the seal went bad, okay? So I'm going to put this back in here real quick. And yeah, like I said, these look really, really cool at night. These are 100 watts each, and they light up all these trees in this area. So, but let's go back to the other bulb, and I'll show you exactly what happened. Okay, so yeah, looking at this here, you see this bulb filled up with water. Okay, this is a brand new bulb. All that was brand new. So first question is, where's this bulb getting water in here from? And as you see here, it's not getting it from around the seal, from around the edge over here. As it turned out, it was getting it from over here. And even if I hold this upside down like this, once I hold it long enough, oh, here, let me shut this off. I'm going to leave this for a couple minutes and see if you can see the water coming out. Okay, I've been waiting here about 5 minutes here, and it didn't. I got it to come out of there before. It's coming right from around over here, okay? But keep in mind, the seal goes right along over here. Okay, so water should never get to this point anyway, so even though the leak was right in here, the problem isn't the bulb. Okay, if that seal was fine, this bulb would have never filled up with water. So that was the problem. That seal was actually defective from the factory, because that par holder that holds this light here, that's not very old. Like I said, I put all that in less than 6 months ago. I think I did that, probably more like 4 or 5 months ago. And this thing started acting up on me over here. So the problem was the seal, not the bulb. So point being, like I said here, when you have a GFI, you're an apprentice. This part's mostly for the apprentices out there, or electricians actually that don't have a lot of experience with GFIs. Especially if you're working outside, don't head right for the GFI and assume the GFI is bad. It probably isn't. You probably have water getting in somewhere. I've had a lot of GFI cases where somebody comes out and they pressure clean the house, and then the customer calls up and says that the GFI started tripping. Well, what we found was the cover, the weatherproof cover that goes around it itself, the seal was bad, just like this seal's bad. So there never was a problem with the GFI. It was the opposite. The bubble cover needs to be actually replaced because water got in there, or sometimes a big rain will come by and afterwards people call us up and tell us that, my GFI keeps tripping, this and that. So the problem is not the GFI, so don't always head right for the GFI first. Start trying to find out. GFIs, like I said, they're ground fault interrupters, okay? They're going to monitor voltage between the hot and the neutral, and if that voltage becomes imbalanced, the current, if that becomes imbalanced, then they're going to trip, okay? So when water gets in there, that's going to become a ground fault, and it's going to cause the voltage to be different, and it is going to trip. So, like I said, if you're especially working on outside, don't jump directly for the GFI itself being bad. If you're working in, say, a kitchen or a bathroom and it started tripping, again, you could have a moisture issue, but in that case, you probably do have some kind of GFI issue here. So let me just, now that I got through all that and this and that here and explain to you exactly what I found on this here. That was my problem. I have to go pick up another bulb. I'm going to get another par holder and just replace that instead of replacing the seal there, even though that's not that old. But I don't think those things cost but $7, $8 a piece. Probably not even that. I forget what I paid for it, but they're pretty cheap. So I'll just replace the par holder itself. So, but that was the problem with this here, guys. So now let me explain what I was talking about a little earlier, the GFI being wired in series. And let me explain exactly how that works, because again, if you have, say, 10 circuits, let's say that you have to protect a bunch of outside circuits and you have a GFI, you don't have to put the GFI on every single outlet, every receptacle. It goes on one, and then you wire the other ones into that, and I'll explain real quick here how that gets done. Before I do that, guys, I forgot I mentioned this. Let me explain. You see what went wrong with this photocell over here? And this was the original problem when I was tripping. The photocell somehow just, I don't know, heat, whatever. I can't say I've ever even seen one do this before here, but you see how it's separated right over here, and that was allowing moisture to get in there, so it started tripping, which was probably in the beginning when this thing first started tripping, when it rained and getting wet and this and that, and then eventually it burned up. For why, I don't know. I'm not quite sure exactly why that burned up here. Usually things will burn up from a bad connection, but you see where this burned up over here compared to how this thing was screwed in here. So I don't know exactly why this happened here, but like I said, I replaced it. But yeah, this is a photocell, okay? And what a photocell does is a photocell gets wired into outdoor lights, and when it gets light outside, it turns the lights off. When it gets dark outside, the lights come on automatically. You don't have a switch, you don't have to touch them. So this is basically a switch that has an eye right over here, down inside of here, and this little eye you have right here will sense day and night, okay? A lot of times when we test this, we just put electric tape over this here, and it thinks it's nighttime, and the thing will come on. So that's what a photocell is here. So let me explain, like I said, I was going to explain to you guys a series of a GFI. Okay, so here's our GFI. This again is the old one, and these are two receptacles here, and I use these for, actually I don't remember, you guys go back to one of my previous videos here, that's when I did this to actually show you guys. I might think I was talking about the barrel connectors right over here, the crimps connectors for connecting grounds here. I don't really remember, but you see these are just two receptacles. These are extras when I built my house here that I had here. I keep as spares. So basically, if you look at the back of a GFI over here, let me turn it this way so I'm not upside down. You see over here it says line, okay? Line means power coming in. That is power from the breaker, from the source coming in, okay? And line and load does matter. On these, it does not matter, other than the fact that you want to connect your hots and your neutrals correct, or your polarity will be reversed. You see the gold here. Compared to the silver over here, okay? Silver basically is neutral, gold is going to be hot. So that's the only thing that's going to matter on these, but line and load does not matter, okay? If you want to come out of the line side, the load side of the GFI here and come into the top, or come into the bottom, that does not matter. But on the GFI, that does matter. So that's why you see line. Line is power coming in from the breaker itself. And I'll tell you, I've had a lot of service calls where people have actually cost themselves more money by thinking, hey, I can replace that GFI myself. And they go out to Home Depot, Lowe's, hardware stores, whatever. They buy a GFI and they think they're just going to do it wire for wire, okay? Well, the manufacturer of that GFI, whereas you see this one here, has line on the bottom. So line is coming in from the breaker on the bottom, and load would be coming out on the top. Load is going to be going out to other receptacles, and now the GFI manufacturer swapped that. They're not always going to be, load won't always be top, won't always be bottom, whatever. That's why you have to look, see if it says line or load. And a lot of people, like I said, they do it wire for wire, and what they did is now they cross line and load, okay? They had line on the bottom, and now the GFI they put in, the new one, now has line on the top. All right, so basically line being your power coming in from your breaker, load coming out. So now what you would do, okay, to wire all of these together in series is you're going to come out of the load side over here, and you're going to connect to the neutral on this. And again, that will not matter, neutral top or bottom, hot top or bottom, but that's what you're doing, okay? You're coming out of the load side of the GFI, and you're going to connect to the receptacle, and then you're going to, let's say we connected the load coming in on the top here, so that's feeding power to the receptacle. Then on the bottom, we're going to put another wire, and we're going to connect it to this one here, and so on, and so on, and so on, the hot and the neutral. And what that means is the load side of this GFI itself is protected. Okay, so anything connected to that load side is GFI protected. So, like I said, now what's going to happen is the load side here, which is GFI protected, now connects to this receptacle over here. It feeds power to this one. And let's say, again, we came in on the top to feed power to this. And now we came out on the bottom, and we ran those wires from the bottom over to the next one over here, again, connecting the hots and neutrals correctly. And now we come out on the bottom over here, and so forth, going to the different ones. That's wiring these in series. And every receptacle that is connected that way will be GFIC protected, okay? So the other thing is, which I'm not going to get into this video too, but you can actually cause problems if you start trying to put GFIs on. If you have the same circuit and you have a GFI coming in on one and you start trying to put GFIs on every single one, it can cause a different kind of problem, which we won't talk about today. I'll make a different video on that. But that basically, like I said, that is how you would protect an entire circuit from being GFI protected. You'll see this a lot of times. Code basically says, like when I built my house, okay, National Electric Code, not building code, National Electric Code. Like when I built my house, okay, if you have 2 bathrooms in the house, you have a choice. You can run a GFI circuit into one bathroom and then come out of the load side of that GFI, and you can run that into the second bathroom and protect those 2 GFI receptacles, but you cannot have the lights connected to that. Or you can come out of this GFI here, you can use this to connect the lights in your bathroom, but you can't do both, okay? If you use this GFI here in one bathroom and you connect this to a second bathroom, then that is it. All right, and again, that created a lot of service calls over the years. Is I'd come out to a customer's house and they'd tell me, oh, you know, the electric in the plug, the outlet in the guest bathroom stopped working. So I'd say to them, okay, where's the master bathroom? And they'd be like, well, why do you want the master bathroom? There's no problem there in the master bathroom. My problem's in the guest bathroom. Well, the problem is in the master bathroom, because when you go to the master bathroom, you find that this GFI over here was tripped, and for whatever reason, they did not notice that, or however. But anyways, the problem wasn't in that receptacle that's in their bathroom, in the guest bathroom. The problem was in the GFI in the master bathroom, because the two are wired together. But again, per code, you cannot have the lights in that bathroom also on this circuit here. So you could take a GFI and run a circuit to that bathroom here and use that circuit for both the GFI and the lights, or you can run that circuit into that bathroom and use that for the 2 GFIs into 2 different bathrooms, and then have a separate lighting circuit. So you could not put them all together. You can connect the 2 bathrooms together with the GFI for the receptacles, but then not the lights, okay? And that's what I had to do on my house to comply with the codes here. So that's what series is, guys. That's how a GFI works, and that's how you would wire these in series. My next video, like I said, which is going to be coming out quick, we've planned an entire season here, and again, I'm trying to get we're not getting away from e-commerce. We'll always have those businesses. They're growing every day. Right now, my wife's actually inside adding a bunch of products to one of our stores over there, so that's always going to go. The thing is I don't want to have to be bogged down with the amount of time that I have been into this. I don't want to put 16 hours a day into running that business here and not have time to make videos and all that. So we've made some changes here that we're going to be able to put out a lot more videos, both me and my wife. Her channel, if you follow V's Cooking with Love, she has something called croquetti coming out. And if you're Polish, you know what croquetti is. They're one of my favorites. They're ham and potatoes, and it's just incredible here. But like I said, that's going to be coming out. That's one of hers. But my next one's going to be coming out on wiring receptacles in your house as a new house in series, which is exactly what I was talking about here. We'd be coming into one with the power, then going to the next, or pigtails, okay? And like I said, when you're in series, if this receptacle goes out and it burns up or whatever, stops working, now it's going to cut power to every other receptacle outside of that. Whereas if I put pigtails in and I wired this, you know, with pigtails, and this one goes bad, this receptacle here goes bad, this one's only going to be affected. Everything else will keep working here. So keep an eye on that one, guys. It's going to be out or pretty quick. Like I said, we're trying to do 1 or 2 videos a week. If you like what we do here, then like I said, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. That really helps us out. And again, keep an eye out for the next one on pigtails. All right, guys, have a great day.